There it is. For you guys. Enjoy.
Welcome to We The Thunder. I'm Shooter. We've got Johnny Vegas in the house, filling in the shoes of Thomas Schooley, who is making some pizzas right now. So
he's stuck at work.
He's gonna jump on. See, a lot of people are already jumping on here. And if you haven't heard the news, the Lightning's season ended in sunrise about 20 minutes ago, half hour ago.
Just about, 20 minutes ago.
A tough loss here in Game 5. Some questionable officiating, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Very, very questionable.
Some lackluster special teams play by the Lightning. And that's all she wrote for the 2023-24 Tampa Bay Lightning. Definitely want to hear your comments in the chat about this game. Make sure that you add hashtag #GoBolts for a chance to win a highlight jersey. We gave out some of these earlier. We're going to do 2 tonight. We got multiple sizes. This one's still in the bag. The highlight jersey. If you haven't seen what it looks like, go check out our social media. Look, this one's number 12. It's the Tom Brady edition. Man, I wish we had Tom Brady tonight on the Bolts, and he was a hockey player and the best effort to do it, because another tough loss to the Panthers. And I'll tell you what, I know we're going to get trolled by Panthers fans at some point tonight, but they're the better team this year. I mean, we've had 3 Sunshine series now, and we've got the best of them 2 out of the 3 times. But this one, they were definitely the better team, and they were really a better team than us all season and in this series. What are your thoughts on the Florida Panthers before we jump into this Game 5?
They're definitely good. They, Forsling, was he a plus 56 this season? Like, with something ridiculous. And, Reinhart with 57 regular season goals, which I think, by the way, outshines Matthews, because he took like half the shots. They're deep. They made some great moves at the deadline, and they have the secondary scoring that we didn't have.
Yeah, they've got some serious depth on this Panthers team. And like we talked about before we jumped into the series, like they kind of got a little bit of everything. They got good defense. They're physical. They've got the depth on offense. They've got the goalie that can get it done, as we saw in these games. So they're poised to make another deep playoff run. Can they get to the Stanley Cup and win it? What do you think? What do you guys think? Are the Panthers a team that can? They made it there last year. Didn't do too well when they got there, but can they get over the hump and not only make it to the Stanley Cup Finals but win it this year?
I think so. They're deep, and Bobrovsky's playing out of his mind. And I actually thought he was better against us than his record. Really, he's actually 14-12-3 against us. So, in the regular season and playoffs, I thought he had a better record coming into it, but it just seems like every time we face him, it's a struggle. And he tonight, on some of our great opportunities, he was right there. He put his glove in, and or his blocker, his leg, whatever it took, he made the saves. And I do think
we weren't interfering with him.
I think both of those goals were good. And I'm a goalie. Bobo made the contact in the first no goal. He initiated the contact outside the crease. He wrapped his arm around Duclair's leg. That was initiated by the goaltender. I thought that should have stood. Duclair has the right to make a play on the puck. He's also being hooked, held, and interfered with. Cirelli is coming around. He's being hooked and interfered with, and all he's trying to do is spin away from the defender. Bobo comes to the top of the crease. I think both of those goals should have stand. I disagree wholeheartedly that those should have come off the board.
Yeah, especially that first one, knowing that the team that scores the first goal in this series is the team that have won every game in this series. So to have them get that first goal on a really, really 50-50 call is tough because you saw the momentum swing to them. And credit to the Lightning because AC Mon took that horrible penalty right after that, and Florida had all the momentum, and we still survived that first period. But these guys just didn't have it this playoffs. I mean, even if they won this game, I had very little hope that they were still going to win two more after the way that they've been playing against Florida. So again, I give Florida a lot of credit for winning this series. And they beat us, man. They finally although this might be their Stanley Cup, finally taking us down. This, that might have taken it all out of them. It looks like they're probably going to play Boston. I don't know. I'm not keeping track of the other game right now, but I'm assuming Boston's winning. Or no, they're not playing right now. Toronto and Boston's not playing until tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, most likely Boston, Florida in that second round, and that'll be a heck of a rematch of those two teams considering what happened last year. Hey, if anyone wants to call in, I do have the phone lines open. It's at the bottom of the screen there. Oh, it just went off. It is. Let me make sure. Let me put it on the big screen here. I always forget our number. 813-666-7701.
Calling the devil.
Yeah, if you want to give us a call, that is the number. I'll throw it up there again. I want to make sure that you guys see that message, though, for hashtag Go Bolts for a chance to win a highlight jersey. We will give out 2 tonight. We're going to still do 3 stars of the chat. I've got 2 other Cigar City shirts, and for the number 1 star, we got another highlight jersey. So feel free, call in if you'd like to express your feelings about this game, about the refs, about the season as a whole, because this is it. This is the last We the Thunder that we're going to do for a while. After the playoffs, we go into hibernation mode, and we really only do about 1 show a month until the season kicks up. So, and we got to wait for Thomas Gooley to show up. So we got plenty of time tonight to talk about what went wrong with the Bolts. What else in this game? What should we talk about?
We want to talk about the entire series as a whole. We have missed opportunities. I feel like both games down in Florida, in the number 1 and number 2, we could have easily won game 1 or 2. We missed opportunities. Easymont hits the post on a breakaway. Stamkos fires one wide in the second period of that game. It sucks where we are right now, but and I hate the way the game was officiated tonight, and I hate to be the guy who blames refs. I don't want to blame the refs, but prior to the game, we could have easily been down there with a 3-1 lead or a 2-2 lead or a 2-2 tie, and this sucks. And yeah, Derek is correct. The Stammer Watch, it starts.
Yeah, that's probably what the entire next We the Thunder show is going to be about.
Yeah, right.
They figure out a way to sign him real quick here in the off season. And yeah, I totally agree, Roscoe. I mean, to me, the difference was the power play. You go into the series with the number 1 power play in the league. This is supposed to be your biggest strength. And besides Saturday, game 4, it looked like we had the worst power play in the league. Like, what the hell happened to our power play, which was really our strength going into this series? Man, again, besides that game 4, this power play looked absolutely awful. And to get 2 chances like they got in the first period, the Panthers, that's a gift. The Panthers are trying to gift us a goal there in that first period, when we know the first goal in this series seems to be the team that wins it, and we can't even get a shot on net. So we can sit here and talk about the refs all day long, all series long, and how bad they were. But guess what? There's 31 other fan bases that are complaining about the refs by the end of the playoffs. We're just another one. So that power play has got to come through in the playoffs. Cooch, the whole thing with Cooch kind of disappearing. I almost predicted it in our show before the playoffs started. What happens if Cooch gets shut down? Who's going to step up? Well, Cooch did get shut down,
He
and
did.
I mean, the only person I can say that really stepped up is Steven Stamkos this
Stamkos,
series.
yep.
He really, really did, offensively, defensively, doing everything. I saw him sliding into the net in the first period to try to save a puck, block the shot for the empty net in Game 3, and yeah, there's where was the rest of the team? You gotta have 4 full lines playing well in the playoffs to win the Stanley Cup. And
Yeah.
this edition of the Lightning just didn't have it.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the numbers on Stamkos scoring in 4 straight games to start the playoffs. I think the only other player since 1963 was Gordie Howe. And what was it? Jaromir Jagr, and I can't remember the guy in front of him. But yeah, he's one of 4 players since 1963 to score goals in 4 straight games to start a playoffs. That's pretty impressive considering, you know.
Hey, we got Orozco on the line, and I'm sure he's probably pretty upset about this. Matt, what do you got to say?
Hey guys, I'm just gonna start off number one bullshit. The referees tonight, those dudes should be fired. Like Toronto's a complete freaking joke, dude. They don't even know what goaltender interference is and what is it goaltender interference. And in that game, if you're gonna make that call, you need to be fired immediately. Like these guys don't need to be in the league. People in Toronto don't need to be in the situation room because they don't even know the rules. It's a different call every night when they do these calls. Bob out there acting like Shesterkin was embarrassing. And that's an embarrassment to the NHL that they would even have a product out there. These calls tonight were weaker than the NBA. And those are some weak calls every night in the NBA.
So, Matthew, would you agree?
But
Matthew, I don't know if you can hear me. Would you agree? Bobo creates the contact, right? So how is that goalie interference? He created the contact.
Yeah. Bob creates the contact both times, and both players are
out of the crease
to break away due to the defenseman. Defenseman also engaging them too. So therefore, there's no goaltender interference. Both goals count. and then to like. I understand, like, okay, maybe one of those calls doesn't go the way. The fact that you could even turn around and make the exact same call the exact opposite way, literally in the third period, is mind-boggling. Like, I can't even understand it. And, like, yeah, I mean, the Bolts are their own worst enemy in Game 1 and 2. That power play has to be talked about. And I will say this much. Hopefully they sign Stammer. Hopefully it's like a 3-year, $5.5 million contract because that's the only way it's going to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the second goalie interference, and what did we get any explanation to how that one was goalie interference?
They just said he interfered with the goalie making the play, but if you see when he's coming around, he's being crushed. He's trying to just spin off his defenseman. He's being interfered with, and that wasn't called. But actually both. Like there should have been a call on the first one where
Duclair was getting held. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm not defending the refs, or it's really Toronto's call there, not the refs on the ice. But you know, you also got to consider Duclair needs to know that you can't have that skate in that blue zone. You got to know where you are on the ice, because having that skate in that blue zone just gives them a reason to be able to challenge it. And I thought it was messed up because it looked like Bobrovsky grabbed his skate with his glove.
Pulled it in. Like, yeah, he created the contact.
Would that not be goalie interference on the goalie? And by the way, he still stick swiped it. He still made an attempt at the save. Duclair wasn't stopping him at all. The second one, I think, is worse because Cirelli's just trying to move and he's getting pushed into the goalie.
Right.
But anyway, I mean, like I said, you can blame the refs all you want, but like the power play 0 for 3 again, and just not good enough. It's just not good enough, and the Bolts really got to figure out what they're going to do this offseason because they're at quite a possible crossroads here.
Yeah.
I think this crossroads is a bigger one than it was in 2015 with John Cooper. I mean, or 2019, I'm sorry, with John Cooper, with the first round exit. I mean, this is another first round exit, but you got aging superstars you paid some players that you don't necessarily need to pay, and you paid them way more than they need to pay. And I mean, at this point, if you want to keep the core together, you're going to have to get rid of some of these players. And you're not going to get much assets out of some of them, but you're going to get a lot more assets out of some other ones. So
sometimes dough's better than an asset. Like for me, Chernak and Cirelli, a lot of people might hate me over it, but they're overpaid for what they do, what they bring. That's $12.5 million. That's a lot of money for guys that
I think
aren't putting up a ton of points.
Chernak's way more overpaid than Cirelli, though. To me personally, I think Chernak's way more overpaid than Cirelli.
I agree. Yeah, especially with the development of Crozier and Lilleberg. Right? Do you need a guy? I mean, those two guys, they've played great, and I love them moving forward, and they're just going to get better. Will somebody take Cirelli? I mean, excuse me. Will somebody take Chernak though? Will they take that contract?
I think they will take it, but you're not going to get any assets for him.
That's the problem.
Like it's like
right? And that's why I said after game 3 that you got to consider trading Hedman. You have to trade someone that is good now still, and Hedman's up there in age for a defenseman. You got to trade someone that's got term on their contract that's still good, that they can send back multiple players or draft picks for. You're not going to get that for Erik Chernak at that.
Hedman was
the injury,
my thought,
which would be possibly a devastating move for the next 2 years, depending on what you get in return. But at this point, the Lightning have to figure out how to unload some of these bigger contracts, because if you look at like what Vegas is doing, Vegas has a slew of guys making $5 million and under. And I think what's hurt the Lightning is we've got superstar players, and we've got to pay them like superstar players. Even compare them to the Panthers. The Panthers have a bunch of really good players, like above average players. You don't have to pay an above average player $9.5 million a year, but you got to pay Cooch that. You got to pay Vasi that. They might have to overpay to bring Stamkos back, which I don't think if they have to do, they're going to let Stamkos walk, because they just can't afford to do it right now. Because remember, you have Hagel's contract extension kicking in, so he gets paid double, and he deserves every penny of that, because I think he's part of our new core moving forward. But the JBB's got to figure something out. Where's I'm right's comment? What do you think of this, guys? JBB killed this organization. Is that a yes or a no?
I get in trouble.
I would say no, because you would trade your arm and a leg for the run that we've been on.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's been some head scratching moves these last 2 years from JBB.
Yeah,
Janot's one of them.
Janot looks really bad right now, and that's probably someone that they'll try to trade and just get off the books, possibly. And I don't really agree with this. I think if you think Sergachev's overpaid, I don't think you know what you're talking about, because he came back out of nowhere and played really well in 2 games. And Sergachev, whether you like it or not, is the new Hedman. So, and he's not going anywhere. Although, if they tried to trade him at that 9.5 or whatever he's at, I think it's 9.5. Guess what? We will get a ton of players back for him. You know why? Because other GMs know what they're talking about in this league. And Sergachev is a star, and he might win the Norris in the future. He's only 24 years old. Come on.
Here's a comparison. Cirelli's 26, but he's making $6.2 million. Did he score 20 goals this year?
He did.
And Reinhardt, okay, so Reinhardt's 28. He's making 6.5, and he scored 52 goals this year. Excuse me, is it 57? He scored 57 goals this year.
Reinhardt,
that's what we're not getting secondary scoring for that kind of money.
People don't understand what Cirelli's role is on the team. His role is not to score 50 goals. He's a second line, and really the problem is he's really a third line center.
Third liner.
So he's kind of overpaid in that way. But for what he does defensively, again, go ahead. maybe Sorelli's the guy you trade, because guess what? We will get plenty of return for Sorelli, just like Sergachev. I know everyone thinks they're overpaid, but there will be high demand if JBB says Sorelli and Sergachev are on the block. And by the way, that's like part of our young core moving forward. So you better get something back for it.
Yeah.
Orozco, you got anything else? I'm going to open it back up.
Nah,
see
man.
see if anyone else has the balls to call in.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good night, man.
All right, man. Go Bolts. We'll be back. We will be back.
Go Bolts.
I hope.
Yeah, and Sorelli in the playoffs, he scored 17 goals. He's had 42 points in 102 games. I'm sorry, I don't want to harp on him. I feel like, I would have kept other guys. We'll see where he goes from here. I think he had 20 goals this year. He had 45 points, and I guess that's not terrible.
He had his best season ever.
Yeah,
I mean,
I get it, but he was only up. He was a plus two.
He had his best season ever.
At $6.5 million, I want more than 45 points.
Oh, 50 goals from Sorelli. Yeah. Me too. I'd like it. I'll take it if I get it. But he's not a goal scorer. He's just not a goal scorer. He's a grinder. He's a center. Man, you know what I'd like to see out of Sorelli? He could win some more freaking face-offs. But he does his job on the PK. He usually shuts down the other team. He didn't today. He was a -3 today. And the guy's got the worst luck with scoring goals that get called back. That's for sure. All right. Hey, if you guys want to win, you don't have to be here at the end when we do the drawing, but hashtag go Bolts with your comment. And we're also going to pick a random comment from the chat here. Leah knows because she won the game. When did we do that? Game 2. Highlight jersey. These things are sick, so make sure you put hashtag go Bolts in your comments. I'm just going through the chat here.
I made somebody throw up with the Reinhardt comment. Sorry, my bad.
I mean, I'm not that impressed by Reinhardt or Hyman because these are, well, I'm jealous because these are two players we don't have for that role, but they score all of their goals right in front of the net. If you ever see like the shot chart of where they show like where players score their goals, Hyman up in Edmonton and Reinhardt, they are all right in front of the goal. Right. We don't have that guy. We just don't have that guy in this team. I know Point likes to get that shot off and on the power play, which for the most part this season got shut down. That's how he scored all those his 50 goals last season, but they got shut down with that spot right in the front. And he even is a little bit further out, like in between the dots. Like we need a guy that can be right there in front of the net and put some pucks in and also get some deflections, get some rebounds, screen the goalie, the things you have to do to beat a really hot goalie, which we couldn't do this series. So,
I thought about that. During the second power play, I'm like, why are we not throwing a guy like Tanner Jeannot? Go sit in front of the net, just bottle up a guy in front of the net, screen the goalie, the Avery kind of guy. And we didn't do that with him. Obviously, he probably hasn't played there all year, but we don't have a guy like that. You're correct. That just gets in front of the net and just stands there, and he's an ass. But we don't have that yet.
All right, let's play a game since everyone's kind of doing the chat anyway. I'm going to name a player, and you and the folks in the chat are going to say if they need to stay or they need to go. And we'll start with Leah since she mentioned him. Connor Sheary. Does he get to stay as the Lightning or does he have to go?
I'm a go for $3 million. Was it $3 million?
Probably the most disappointing player this season on the Bolts, to be honest with you.
I agree.
He just couldn't really get anything going this season. And man,
did he play in the playoffs?
No, he was scratched most of the time, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he was scratched. Yeah.
he didn't play tonight. So here's the problem. We're stuck with him.
For at least one more year, right?
Again, who you think's going to go out of their way to take Connor Sheary off our hands
Pittsburgh might.
after his performance this season? I don't know. Here's an interesting one. Anthony Duclair.
I would love to keep him. Like, I think he could be great for us down the. Yeah, I would love to see them find a way to keep him here.
By the way, everyone's saying go for Sheary.
I see that.
And then what do we got for Duclair, who is an unrestricted free agent? We got a lot of stays. Not even a question. That's true, dude. I think everyone likes what Leclerc did when he came in. Let's go to the other side of the trade deadline. Matt Dumba on defense. We needed that piece on defense, and we got Matt Dumba, and he played a lot. Johnny, do you re-sign Matt Dumba, or do you let him walk? Unrestricted free agent at the end of the season.
I would love to keep him, but with the way Crozier and Lilleberg have played and the continued growth that we're going to get from them, I think if he walked, it wouldn't hurt, but I'd love to keep him.
That's interesting. You got most Dumba goes, Dumba stay. You got a Dumba stay there. You got a how much? Yes.
Well, yeah, he's not. I don't think he's a $6 million defenseman.
What's the league minimum? That's probably the only thing.
If we could get him for around 3.5, maybe.
Yeah,
I like that. He couldn't score an open net, but he can defend until he loses his stick in front of the Vassy and goes and gets the stick and leaves the player alone, like he did tonight.
I'm still upset, and I really think that could have been a turning point in the series if that he didn't score that goal. And I'm still upset. Yeah, it was a wonderful, amazing save by Bobrovsky. It was lucky as hell, though. And it was a shitty shot by Dumba, who just needed to sweep the thing over the net or into the net. Didn't even need to lift it. Somehow lifted it slowly right into Bob's backhand arm, who's just flailing there, and is going to get credit with the best save of the playoffs because Dumba can't push the puck across the line. So for that reason alone, Dumba, pack your shit.
You know, I have to admit that if it were me in that same position, I probably wouldn't have scored it either.
I would have. By the way, my team played tonight, also eliminated from the playoffs. So doubly in a bad mood here. Let me pull up Cat Friendly so we can still keep playing our game, because I don't know the status of this man, but I want to keep Luke Glendening. He was a shining star on our fourth line, and quietly had one of his best offensive seasons too. What do you think about Luke's play?
I love him. I would love to keep him. He's face-off wise, he's great, and he's probably one of the best penalty killers since Callahan that we've had.
Yeah, I think he's been great. Like, you talk about bringing in a veteran defenseman, that's what you want, and we do have him next year at basically $800K, a league minimum. So Luke, you can stay. Yeah, the face-offs with him are unreal. So
right, Leah,
he's absolutely staying next year. Tyler Mott, I think, was the other kind of shining star acquisition, last minute acquisition, because remember, we got Archibald, who just bailed on us, and luckily Tyler Mott was sitting there waiting for someone to pick him up. Man, what a great season Tyler Mott had, just kind of out of nowhere for his role as a fourth line winger, right?
Yeah. I would keep him. I would definitely keep him. He's got good speed. Actually, I think he's got tricky speed. Entering the zone, he's got good puck skills, sees the ice very well. I would, and again, another guy on penalty kills that plays really well.
And we're getting a lot of keep Motts. So Mott was here on an $800K,
the applesauce
1-year contract. If they can keep him at $800K for another season, I say they do it, but he's an unrestricted free agent, which means he can go anywhere he wants. Austin Watson, he's 32, played basically for the league minimum, did not play a ton of games. Austin Watson, is that experiment over?
No, I wouldn't keep him. I mean, he did have a couple nice games, but for the most part, he was less than average.
Yeah.
He filled a spot. Warm
I
body
agree.
at that kind of
there's
money.
there's no room in the NHL today for an enforcer that can't score goals.
Right.
You gotta
Unless you're Ryan Reeves.
offensively. Well, Tanner Jeannot is falling under that category.
Right. Yeah. If you ask me that, I would say no, but he's signed, right, for a while.
Tanner Jeannot is signed through next season.
Yeah.
Are we letting, if we're GM, are we getting Tanner Jeannot out of Tampa?
If I could, yes.
You got to trade him. Got to get
someone. If someone would take him, yes.
Yeah. And I guess one of the things that we probably haven't mentioned enough this season, and this is Jeannot's kind of been a big part of this, is this season was really injury riddled. All season long, the Lightning were battling injuries. Sergachev was the only one that really had some serious long-term injuries, except, we forget, we didn't have our goalie for the first, 2 months of the season. Mm-hmm. But let's not forget that this season really, really took a hit through injuries. And the problem with Tanner Jeannot is the guy can't stay on the ice. So how are we going to figure out if he can score goals? And also, how are we going to trade him if other teams can't see him doing anything on tape?
Sometimes the best ability is your availability, and he doesn't have it.
Man, he's 26 years old. I was hoping that he was going to start to make some moves in the playoffs, and I was really pissed that he got scratched that one game that he didn't play. And I think it was 2 or 3 he got scratched in. Yeah. We need that guy that can hit. But again, if he's going to be our third, fourth line winger, you got to contribute some goals. Eventually, Cooch is not going to score multiple points a night. See the playoffs this year. Point's going to have his struggles. Hockey's a very streaky sport, right? So when those guys can't score, we gotta have these guys in the third and fourth line scoring. And I know that is why JBB overpaid, because remember, he was a 20-goal scorer his first season, and he was a banger. But I think most Bolts fans are over that experiment. There you go. I'm just tired of the experience in terms of
and it stinks because we gave up a first-round pick.
We gave up.
I know most people will be like, well, it was the 30th pick or whatever it was, but it doesn't matter.
I think unless he gets packaged in a trade, he's going to be here 2.6 next year. What about AC Mott? Where are we at with AC Mott?
I love that guy. I keep him. He's a firecracker. He's a poor man's Marchand. He gets under people's skin. He's fast. He gets the puck to the net. Makes good plays. I like him a lot.
Yeah. Again, though, I want to see him score a couple more goals. And yeah, he is signed next year. So we do have Mikey for another year. He's on the same terms as Luke Glendening. So it seems like Mikey's a little bit of a fan favorite. But man, he's got to score some more goals.
Yes.
You got to get some guys in that bottom 6 that can score goals. But I'm with you. I like what he brings to the table. He's got that feistiness to him. Where was Derek? Yeah, the Yanni type of player. You got to have a couple of those guys, or at least one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got to score some goals. He had that beautiful goal towards the end of the season, where he went in
and he missed a wide open top shelf in game 1 that would have sent us into the first intermission 2-1. But I still like him.
Yeah, that was huge in that first game where he couldn't deliver. Yeah. All right, that's most of the bottom 6. Obviously, we're keeping Nick Paul, but let's throw it out there. I want to see in the chat Anthony Cirelli. We're split right here. You'd trade Cirelli tomorrow. I think Cirelli is going to be a huge piece of the team. I think he's a valuable NHL player, so they could trade him and get some guys back for him, more than you think they can. But I'm saying keep him. Keep Anthony Cirelli as long as you can. And guess what? He's under contract for a long time. So we might not have a choice. Let's see what we got. You're definitely trading him, right?
We need the money. That salary cap, that's 6.5. Was it 6.5 million or 6.7?
6.2.
6.2 million dollars. That's two players. In the bottom.
Keep Cirelli.
I don't want to say he's a bad player. I will never say that. Maybe if we have him up on the first or second line, it's different. With the core players that we have above him, maybe that's why he's on the third line. And let's see what he can do if he, plays 82 games up top as a top six.
It looks like most of the chat is staying with Cirelli as a Bolt, and again, they would have to trade him. But I'm telling you,
he says he shows up in the playoffs tonight. He scored his first goal. I don't.
Well, he scored earlier in the playoffs, and it was also overturned. That's because of the offsides. Yeah. So there's a buy Tony. There's a keep Tony. There's a stay Cirelli. Yeah, it's that contract is rough. We got him for a long time, but he's only 26 years old. Let's do one more forward here because I think we cover. Oh, well, no. Mitchell Chaffee will be a unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. 26 years old as well. Man, if we can get Chaffee at like a little bit of a raise, like 800K, 900K, I would
keep him.
The problem is going to be there's another team that might pay him more because he definitely outplayed that contract. And, this was his first time getting to the NHL. So what do we got with Chaffee in the chat here? We got to keep Chaffee.
I would keep him.
League minimum or no, he's going to get a raise after this season for sure. He's not going to get minimum. He was at 775, which is
somebody will pay him 1.5.
That's as low as you can go. Mm-hmm. If the price is right, I like Chaffee, but he's gone. Love him. Serena needs to talk crap about him more often. Any thoughts on getting former Lightning players are too damn good to get back, dude? You think you're gonna get Marchessault's probably gonna get cut from Vegas because he's gonna be UFA, and Vegas is eventually gonna run into these cap problems starting now. But how are you gonna pay? How are we gonna pay a guy like that to come back? I would love Marchessault to come back. Same thing with Connor Verhaeghe. But guess what? These guys that we're losing that are doing really well, like those two, they're just going to make more and more money. I think we could get back like a Tyler Johnson, who will probably be available. But guess what? Tyler Johnson's not 2015 Tyler Johnson anymore.
And I think what people may not realize is that, we're going to lose Stamkos's money, but we're also losing Seabrook's long-term IR, which was $6.7 million. So you take his 8.5 minus 6, that's all we're getting. That's all we're getting from Stamkos's money being gone. What's that? $1.9 million. It's not a complete wash, but we're not getting the full Stamkos contract out of the.
No, I think that's what people need to understand is we're in
trouble.
We're in cap
trouble
right now. Like it's not good. Going into next season, they can get Stamkos done, but I mean they've got to get him on a discount, and he really deserves to get paid just as much, if not more.
He does. He's another 40-goal season. Like you can't walk in and go, "Hey, can I pay you $3 million?" You can't. I'm with Matthew. $5.5 million. I think it's possible at his age that he stays because he wants to make a run. I agree with Matthew.
Someone's going to offer him 8.5,
8 or 9. They're going to give him what he's making now. Absolutely. Toronto will come after him again. Montreal might even do that. Leah's like, bye-bye, Stammer. And I'm with her. I don't know that he takes a discount, but, his kids are embedded here in hockey. His mom and dad live here. His sisters. I mean, it's possible, but it's also more likely that he's willing to go somewhere for the during the season and just live here in the off season.
Yeah. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's do that one next. Steven Stamkos, unrestricted free agent. Do you sign him, John, or do you send him packing?
Because of the cap hell, unfortunately, if he's not going to take a cap friendly deal, no, you got to let him walk. And that really sucks. But I just don't see any way we can keep him without moving some of the higher contracts like a Chernak. I don't see the ability to sign him.
I'm with you. I think they're going to try to figure out a way to make it work, but he's not going to get paid his 8.5 that he got paid this season here in Tampa. He will somewhere else though. That's going to be the problem. So it kind of depends on what his priorities are with his family, also what he's thinking about hockey. Does he's only got a few years left. Does he think that Tampa's done? Does he think he's not going to win a cup here? And does that prompt him to go
is winning a third cup with a second team, with a different team? Like, that many players do that. Is that something he would want to accomplish? The Tom Brady thing, yeah, I'm with you, Matt. 8 million, no way. You can't.
Yeah, it would just really be a weird day to see Stamkos in a different.
I know it's like it started with seeing Stamkos to almost saw Stamkos. It's
Stamkos over Hetty. That's enough. All right, so let's go with that.
I agree, Derek. I agree with that. And I love Hedman.
You got to choose one. Hedman is gonna be next, kind of on that list after next season.
He's 8.5 as well.
7.8.
7.8. So
if you've got to lose one of these guys, are you gonna lose Steven Stamkos or are you gonna lose Victor Hedman? I'm keeping Hedman. I'm sorry.
You are. Okay.
Yeah. As a defender, it's harder to find shutdown defenders, and we have his replacement already. We do, but what's better than one Hedman?
Two, right?
Sergey.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, and you're right. Sergey's coming back last game made a hell of a difference. So,
yeah, Hedman, 33 years old, and he's making 7.8.
Stamkos too, right? Aren't they both 33?
Stamkos is 34. He's going to be
35
next season.
Okay.
But Hedman's 7.8 next season will be his last year under contract for Lightning. And that's why I was talking about earlier in the series, if we're going to blow stuff up, that's a guy that you can get some stuff back for. Now, mind you, he has a no trade clause, so there's only going to be a short list. He's got a modified no trade clause, so there will only be a short list of teams that we can trade him to. But I think we get draft picks. I think we get 2 players that can come play. That's the only reason why I threw that out there. But me personally, I'm keeping Hedman over Stamkos because, offensive players are easier to find, and we've got superstars on this team already. Although, to be clear, I don't want any of them gone.
I know. I want them to just get rid of the salary cap and just let us pay a luxury tax.
Yeah, I like this comment to agree. You cannot beat Pittsburgh. I always compare it to Chicago. When Chicago was having their dynasty, yeah, they had that kind of core 3, right? Taves, Kane, Seabrook. You could throw in maybe
Duncan.
2 other guys that were kind of in that core. But the other guys around them, they were kind of wheeling and dealing, and they were doing the every other year Stanley Cup thing. So if we're going to get back to the Stanley Cup, we've got to make some moves. We've got to
Mhm.
do something to change this team. We saw a first round exit last year. We saw a first round exit this year. If we do the same thing and just try to fix this bottom six and patchwork this defense, guess where we're going to be? First round out next year.
Mhm.
So, and the weird thing is it's been JBB who's always said like, hey, I owe it to the core of this team to keep it together for as long as we can and win as many cups. Well, we are definitely on the other side of that mountain right now, so we got to do something here.
Right.
Sammer is the heart of the team. Ariana, him leaving would be another nail in the coffin. I think it would just be, I mean, eventually Steven Stamkos is gonna not play for the Lightning. So eventually we gotta turn the page, and it could happen sooner than later. All the reports,
Who becomes captain?
all the media is saying that he's gonna get re-signed. So, but it's up to him. It really is up to him. All right. If Stammer stays, sorry, I'm getting caught up. Stammer over Heady. Orozco saying Hedman stays. You know I'm right. This is the most optimistic Bolts fan.
Derek, trade JBB for Yzerman. I would love to have Yzerman back.
Oh, JBB for Yzerman, yeah.
Yeah.
He was good with the trades, but I'm still sticking by JBB was the one that got it done. And I don't agree with Hedman has disappeared a lot, Orozco. I think it's easy to think that defensemen disappear, especially when we've been watching Victor Hedman play for so long and do what he does and makes it look so easy. He still could be a finalist for the Norris every single year, but I think we overlook him, and so does the voters for that. And yeah, totally agree with wish Heady would shoot more. He doesn't have a great shot. I was tweeting in that first period, after that power play looked so bad and those first two tries, like put Sergachev back in there. We started to do it last season. Sergachev has a much better shot. He's got a knack for getting the puck on net. And I wouldn't be surprised.
Didn't he score the second goal tonight that got taken off the board? I think so.
Was it him that shot that?
I think it was, yes. I have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure he did it.
He's got a chance to be our best defensive man that we've ever had. Hedman's just more of been a stay-at-home guy. But
still scores a lot of points.
Oh, a ton of points. Yeah, he's still at over 70 this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at defense real quick. We've got Calvin Dahan is a free agent, unrestricted free agent. Are we done with the Dahan experience? Because I'm done. I was done.
I'm done.
I was done. And
it's Calvin Dagon. Yeah.
Oh, the puns keep coming. Dagon. All right. So I think everyone's on the Dagon train. What about Fleury? I think the Fleury experiment's over too.
I think the Fleury, the Dagon Fleury too. I'm not. Yeah, he's average at best. And wasn't he a first round pick?
No, that's Philippe Myers, who just can't even crack our lineup for some reason, but seems to do okay in Syracuse. I'm so glad they signed Darren Radish last season for that extension, because he goes from 762 to 975 for the 2 seasons following this. And if we had to re-sign Darren Radish now for an extension, he would be making way more than just short of $1 million, because he had a phenomenal season. So we got lucky finally with something in the salary cap there. Okay, one more.
Yeah, Hayden Fleury was the 7th overall pick in 2014, according to the internet. I might be wrong, but
I want to know in the chat, Eric Chernak's signed long-term, 26 years old, $5.2 million. Guy gets hurt all the time, has a horrible luck with getting hurt, but he's a very physical player. This is why I don't complain about Hedman not hitting people, because you know how you stay healthy? Play less physical. Like when you have to do it, especially in the playoffs, which, I would like to see Hedman get a little more physical, and I think he does. But the reason why Hedman plays so many dang games is because he's careful and he's selective about when he's checking. Eric Chernak, totally different story. Blocks every single shot he can, goes in the corner, hits people, will fight you. I'm an Eric Chernak fan. I'm not done with him. I'm curious if people want to trade him.
I would trade him.
If you've got the offer for something that makes sense, I would too, but I don't think you're going to get it because of the injuries. As Sarah says, he's made of glass.
He's made of glass, yes. When he gets hit, he gets hurt.
Yeah. He's a tough player, though. I mean, it's a tough game, and he plays harder and does the things that a lot of other people
He's
don't.
the Lightning's version of Chris Godwin.
He's got to lead the team in shot blocks for sure. It seems like every time he's out there blocking shots, which, by the way, your guy Sorelli does not get enough credit for blocking shots either. I'm gonna text Thomas Schooley to see if I can get a pepperoni pizza sent out, but also to see if he wants to join the show. I told him we'd wait a little bit to start, but it's 11 o'clock already. If we don't get Schooley on, him and I will go live at some point later this week, so you guys can hear about Schooley. Maybe he's upset. Hey, don't forget to make sure you add hashtag Gold Bolts. Let me see how many people we got. So we only have 17 people in there. There's a hell of a lot more people watching. These jerseys are awesome. If you have not seen, and by the way, we have multiple sizes of these. Look, that's a small right there, the number 12. I'm not going to take it out. I'm going to keep it in the wrapping, but it's a highlight ice hockey. Like, this is a real jersey, dude. This thing is sick. And I also have some more highlight stuff. We're going to choose 3 stars of the chat. Derek Yates knows. He got one of our, what did Yates get? I think Yates got the polo. There's nothing like walking around town in a Cigar City Brewery polo with the Lightning logo on it. Like, you seem like a beer aficionado and a Lightning fan all in once. And I got some long sleeves too. So we're definitely going to pick some winners. There you go. He's got that polo. And Leah won the jersey last show as well. So yeah, get that Go Bolts in there. We're not going anywhere. I gotta hear back from Thomas Schooley and see what is going on with him and get his thoughts on the game. I don't know how much he got to really watch tonight, because I heard there was a run on pizzas after the Panthers scored their first goal. And if anyone wants to call in, now is the time. We do not open up the phone lines too often on this show for good reason, because you guys are a bunch of maniacs. But we've got the ability to do it. So if you want to call in, give your thoughts about this series, give the Panthers some kudos. They finally got one up on our franchise. But let's not forget, Panthers fans, I know there's some out there. I'm surprised we haven't got trolled. It's nothing like we got trolled so hard last year with Toronto. Like, it was not even funny how bad we got trolled. But man, it's weird. There's no Panthers fans out there, huh? Leah's scared to call. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. But yeah, let's not forget, if there are any Panthers fans out there, I gave you your chance to gloat a little bit. I gave your team props. But let's not forget 3 Stanley Cups here in Tampa. And we're still 2-1 versus you guys in the playoffs. And we swept you. You did not sweep us. Mikhail Sergachev did not let that happen. He said, hell no, I'm going to tape up this broken leg and I'm getting out there. That was honestly one of the coolest games I've ever been to. I don't know why. Maybe it might have been because I was sitting with Sticks of Fire and not in the 100 level like I was for game 3. But game 4's crowd was so much more rowdy than game 3. I don't know what it was. If it was because where I was sitting, I want to say it was because Sergachev came back and just kind of that place blew up. But man, what an atmosphere it was there. And at least the Bolts gave us a playoff win at home to avoid the sweep, because yeah, it was a blast at Amalie on Saturday night. And at least if Stamkos leaves, at the very least, he gave us that game where he scored 2 goals. And man, I hope that wasn't the last time we see Stamkos at Amalie Arena in a Lightning jersey.
Me too.
By the way, for anyone wondering, Lilleberg is signed through next season. Crozier is signed through next season. Then there are RFAs at the end of next season. I don't know what time they fly in. That's Thomas Schooley's category. He's tracking the plane, but my guess is they're probably on their way, and they'll be back pretty soon here, because if you've been on that flight, you go up and then you go down. I just did it a couple weeks ago. Hold on, Sarah's got a chat here. Panthers fans have already gone back to their regular scheduling program. Whatever they do. True. Yeah, it's a different fan base for sure down there, but they're starting to grow. They're starting to get bigger down there. Of course, the winning's going to help with that. And if they do end up winning a Stanley Cup, their fan base is only going to get bigger. Oh, Serena's saying 11:38, I heard. So yeah, they're probably just about to take off. If not, they're already in the air. So if you want to get down to Rain Air, and you better leave soon.
Yeah, I was down in Plantation, which is 5 minutes from the arena in Sunrise last year while they were in the Stanley Cup, and there were no signs, no jerseys, no bumper stickers, no flags. It was just the weirdest feeling knowing that they had a team in the Stanley Cup final. It just was not around town.
It's not a hockey town.
You wouldn't have known it.
I mean, but think about it though. If they've had a totally different path than we've had, right? Winning the Stanley Cup in 2004 was huge, and then this team, this version of the Lightning, Vinnick's Lightning, has been pretty dominant for 10 years now. So the Florida Panthers have not. Like, I know the last couple of years they've been kind of building up and been good. They've made the Stanley Cup Finals twice. You know, if they won it back in
96,
yeah,
96,
if they won it back then, I
yeah.
think that would have helped them tremendously. But they got swept, if I remember correctly, and they almost got swept last season. So they've got to win some cups to build a fan base down there. But that's a weird sports town in South Florida. I mean, everyone here knows, especially, you know, I know there's people that are not from Florida that listen and watch this show, but Tampa's a very, very different place than South Florida.
Yeah, I think Jesse's right. I think they're 1-8 in their Stanley Cup appearances. As far
they
as
almost got swept last year.
Yeah, 1-8. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, if they can beat Boston again, who, you know, I'm assuming Boston's going to close out Toronto because Toronto's Toronto. I think they've got as good a chance as anyone to actually win it this year. And I feel like them beating us is similar to us beating Columbus to get over that hump and win it in 2020. Because if you remember the Bubble Cup,
yeah,
dude, we didn't that was easy. Like, that was easy for the Lightning to win that cup. It shouldn't have been that easy. They didn't really have much of a challenge the entire time.
No, we played Montreal, who in any normal year wouldn't have been in the playoffs.
True. Yeah. They had that whole Canadian division. So,
Yeah.
oh, guess what? There's definitely some Canadian teams making the playoffs.
Yeah. Any normal season and I don't want to take it away that, and in some respect is the hardest cup, right? Because of COVID and everybody bubbles and all that crap. But no, we played Montreal. That would not have been in the playoffs
It's
in the
amazing
normal
that they
season.
made the finals that year. But screw Montreal, like of the way that we freaking worked our way through that playoffs was super easy. And that team that we had was disgusting. I mean, you talk about Carter Verhaeghe and what he's done for Florida. He's their
which
top,
he didn't do for us. Yeah.
He's their top scorer. Well, he was he was like 22 when he was here. He was a baby.
But the year before he led the AHL in points. And we had Cooch who led the league in points in the NHL, and we had Verhaeghe who led the AHL in points, and he couldn't get anything going here. And that was
because it's tough to do that when you're playing max 12 minutes a game on the third and fourth line. He's not cracking. Go back and look at that roster. He's not cracking the top 6 on that 2020 team, and another reason why we're losing. But if Florida wins that cup last year, Marchessault won, former Bolt won the Conn Smythe. If Florida wins, Carter Verhaeghe's going to win the Conn Smythe. Whoever won last year,
I texted you.
Win it.
I texted you that question earlier in the week. If you could go back, would you keep Cirelli or would you have kept Verhaeghe, and then you even threw in Marchessault. Hindsight's 2020, no pun intended.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, you can't keep everyone if you go
you
back,
can't
look at that roster. It was just ridiculous. But yeah, they got to find a way. They got to find a way to rebound. They've got the core pieces set up. They've got to fill in the blanks with some players that can play. And I think coaching is a problem. I think not Cooper. I know some people are going to start to chant the whole, Cooper's time here is done. But I think Blashill, and nobody's going to disagree with me on this, I think he's your fall guy. Get him the hell out of here. Although, they finally figured out the defense, it seemed like, by the end of the season. And even in the playoffs, the defense wasn't really the problem.
No.
So I was saying until January, I was like, well, it's a new defense. Give these guys some time. Also, the goalie issue was kind of weird for the first half of the season. So I don't know. Blashill might have bought himself another season. I know one thing: he probably ain't getting a head coaching job again.
Yeah,
I know how Jason feels on this. He's even got the apparel.
But
yeah, I hope he's the fall guy, and it's still Halpern on special teams too. Honestly, after this playoff series, if you take out that game 4 where we were scoring on the power play, absolutely pathetic on special teams, mainly on the power play, absolutely pathetic. So they've got to do something.
What was Florida's rank on the? I didn't even look what their penalty kill rank was. 82.5%.
I think they're top 10. I mean, they're super aggressive though, and for us to not make any adjustments and just keep doing the same thing over and over, which they know is happening. I understand. Yeah, we got Cooch as the option. We got Quinn as the option. You got Paul in front of the net. You got the Stamkos, arguably the best player in the NHL on the power play, one of the best all time statistically. So it should be tough to shut down, but the Panthers just smothered them every time. And, they didn't even really get shots in the first 2 in this game. And they were even saying on ESPN, how you beat that? You start putting pucks on the net, because guess what? They still have 4 guys and you still have 5. So you might get a stick on it. You might get a rebound. But no, these guys still just wanted to pass around and do the same thing. You got to make adjustments when you're getting shut down like that. And these guys refuse to do it. But I want to see some more wrinkles in the power play. I think it was last show I was talking about the Oilers. Go watch the Oilers power play. They've got some really good players. This guy McDavid, I don't know if you heard of him. And
I heard he's good.
Yeah, and then Hyman, who had a huge season, just sitting right in front of the net, putting pucks in. But those guys are all moving around. Like, do you think McDavid stands still at all during a power play? He doesn't at all. He's moving the entire time, which means the defense is reacting to it. With us, it's like, man, like Florida might have just busted our whole power play because just the super aggressiveness. And it's weird because they were aggressive. There were teams that were aggressive in the regular season that beat us to it. I think, or that we were able to score on. I think we got another caller here. Hey, who's calling in?
It's Alex.
Hey, what's happening?
What's up, Alex?
What's happening? It's probably John with you too, so they're right.
John is here.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Alex?
Guys, tough end of the stretch. You never want to see the boys go out like that. I think everybody's going to say the refs were a little rough, and I think they were a little rough, but let's put things into perspective. We were absolutely terrible on the power play in the entire series. I just don't think just that. I talked about this. I think it was game 3 when I called in, game 4 when I called in. The Bolts needed to do just a little bit more on the power play, just alone, the passing game. Turnovers need to come down some, and this wasn't our series, guys. It's nothing to be disappointed about. I know it's the end of the season, but just a disappointing way to go out. Everybody's going to say the refs. I think it really did make me mad. I'm not going to sit there and say it was all one-sided, but I mean, that was a very rough officiating game. I don't know your guys' thoughts on that, but at the end of the day, what's done is done. Talking about one off-season move that I wanted your guys' thoughts on, I kind of missed most of what you guys were talking about. You guys were talking a little bit about who goes and who stays and who goes. I think I commented on I want Anthony Duclair to come back. Absolutely a lights-out player. He made a difference at the trade deadline when they got him. Thought it was one of the best pickups they've done next to Brandon Hagel when we got Hagel a few seasons ago or a couple seasons ago. But what is your guys' thoughts on the captain coming back? Can't let him go.
Yeah, so he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season, and the Bolts are still in some major cap issues because a lot of it's because Brandon Hagel's contract's going up, and he deserves that money. So, we kind of talked about earlier. It's going to come down to what the captain wants to do. Does he want to stay here? Because if he does want to stay here, he will be staying here at a discounted price, and he'll make less than what he makes right now. And he will get offers to make the same or more than he gets made now, or than he makes now, because he obviously can still play hockey really well. So I think the hope is, or I guess I can only speak for myself. My hope is he stays on a lesser contract, but I mean, if I was in his shoes, I'm poor and greedy, so I'm probably taking the money. Ask Alex Killorn how that went, because Alex Killorn got offered a contract to stay with the Bolts, and he said, "No, I'm gonna go screw around in LA for a little while. Forget about winning cups." So it's really up to him what happens. He's gonna get an offer, and he's not gonna probably love the offer. So, John.
Yeah. I did want to give a big hats off to Sergey. What a great comeback he made. I think he initially gave the Bolts that extra spark that we needed, especially on the last game we played, that we dominated that first period. That was incredible to see him come out on the ice for the first time in a few months after that, that terrible injury, and just to come back and work so hard and even have a playoff appearance is nothing short of absolutely amazing. So it's really good to see Sergey come through and make a difference in that game. And I think that did give the Bolts some life in this series overall. And it was really good to see him come out and bounce back. I was actually a little shocked that they announced him. I didn't. Honestly, I will tell you the truth. I was a little bit on the mend or on the not so go on letting him play, because I don't believe in him risking an injury so quick for a playoff push. But it's good. I guess it's the playoffs. But we were already down 0-3 in the series when Sergey came back. I was just a little shocked for him to come back. But oh well, hats off to Sergey. I love the guy. Such a great guy on and off the ice. His attitude, just his demeanor, in the clubhouse and in the clubhouse and what he does for this team. It's absolutely amazing. So I really wanted to give a hats off to Sergey and his hard push to come back and make a difference. Because let's be real, guys. I really think Sergey was that difference going into that game 4 down 0-3, and it gave the Bolts some life, regardless of where we stand at right now. I think that extra push is what the Bolts needed to have any sort of a chance.
We would have been swept if Sergachev didn't come back on Saturday night.
Yeah,
I 100% believe that. So if anything, hats off to Sergey. We owe him avoiding that sweep on Saturday night. And I'll tell you what, because I know there's a bunch of Sergachev haters out there still. They point out every time he turns over the puck. Guess what? Hedman turns over the puck once a game at least as well. But look at just how some of the breakout passes this game. Like, this team's way better with Sergachev in the lineup.
His shots always get through. I don't know if people realize that or not, but anytime he takes a shot on net, it gets through to the goalie. It's rarely blocked.
He has a knack for getting these pucks on net, which we were missing all season long. And don't forget, he did not play enough games to even get his name on the cup. And I think if he would have qualified, if he played for enough in the playoffs, so eventually he would have. But he had a devastating season. He was injured for almost 20 games before he came back and got injured almost immediately in New York.
He missed 70 games? Or 57 games, I think.
No, he played way less than that.
Yeah. No, I think he missed.
Missed
57 games.
He missed a ton of games. And like I said earlier, the story of this team this season can really be a story of injuries. Besides him, Sergachev, and Vasi's long-term injuries, we just had a bunch of short-term injuries, right? So it's tough to really get in that flow. It's tough to get chemistry with your team. It's tough to figure out your identity for the year when you're kind of rotating guys in and out. I mean, who thought we would be talking about Max Crozier and Lilleberg here at the end of the season? I didn't even know who those guys were, and I'm a diehard Lightning fan.
I didn't either, to be honest. I'd never heard of either one of them. Even as far as Syracuse goes, I didn't know who they were.
Those guys were not part of the plan.
No.
So for them to kind of come through and give us a little hope there at the end of the season and kind of go on that winning streak was cool to see. But if you ask me throughout most of this season, I would have told you candidly that the Bolts just don't have it. They don't have it to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. And here we are with the first round exit again. So you are what you are after 82 games in a regular season, and the Bolts never looked like that dominant team at all this season.
No,
I have a question for you guys. Were you guys a little? And by the way, hats off to him personally for having a record-breaking season, and what he's done in the regular season was absolutely record-breaking in my opinion. But were you guys a little disappointed in the performance in Kucherov this playoff series alone?
No, because they were gonna focus on him. That was one of the things they were gonna do. The cheap shot, the Montour cross-checking him in the head, like they were gonna get under his skin. That's one of the things the Panthers were gonna do. Take him out of the game. And so no, but like this is where Rob had said earlier, we needed the other guys to step up, If they would have, then it would have opened up things for Cooch. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm more upset that there was no game plan or there was no one there to you know fill up the points. Get those goals. You got to have 4 lines that are able to score goals and shut down the other team. And what Florida proved in this series is that the Lightning were really offensively a one-line team. And if you shut down that one line, with the exception of Steven Stamkos, the captain, who they could not shut down, we just didn't have anything else.
No.
Yeah, and just go back to what we were talking about earlier with go look at the lines in 2020 or 2021 when we won the cup, and you can't even put that team against this team head to head. It's not even close as far as talent goes. So Cooch is going to get shut down, but that's where these other players got to step up. And one other thing that I don't think we saw it tonight either was, hey, how about splitting up Point and Cooch? How about spreading things out a little bit so the other team has to think a little bit about how they're going to put these defensive matchups together?
Right.
I don't understand with Cooper, who likes to change the line so much, he wouldn't split those two up at all, did he?
No, I was a little surprised that the line combinations didn't change up a little bit throughout the series.
Yeah. All right, Alex. Well, we'll let you go, man. Thanks for calling in.
Well, it was a great season, guys. Keep your heads up. Get some healthy guys back. Try to re-sign the captain. I can't imagine our captain being in another uniform. Just having that thought in your mind makes me want to throw up. But it's business, I guess, at the end of the day. But guys, hats off to a great season. Hey, I know Thomas is listening. Good friend. Thomas, appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate what you guys do on your Thunderbolts page. And great season, guys. And I'll call in often on these podcasts if you guys do them so every so often. So.
Well, don't get your hopes up because we go into hibernation mode and really only do about one a month in the summer. And unfortunately, these off seasons keep getting longer and longer, which puts me in a deep depression. Maybe I need to do a different podcast in the summer.
It's crazy. But, all right, guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to call in.
See you,
right,
Alex. Have a good night, bud.
Take care.
See you guys.
If anyone else wants to call in, we'll do one more. I don't think we're gonna get Thomas Schooley on tonight's show, but as promised, I will go live later this week with Thomas so you can hear his thoughts on the season. But yeah, if anyone else wants to call, we'll do one more. And if you haven't already entered or you just got here, #GoBolts. We got a highlight jersey up for grabs. We're going to do 2 highlight jerseys. And I got some other highlight stuff too. So keep loading up the comments. I can't even keep up with the comments, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's always sad, man, because you know how I am. Like, this is such a big part of my life. And now my family has to welcome me back because there's not a game every other night. Yeah, it's just that long off season. Last season killed me, and we're looking at the same long off season. But it is what it is. Only one team can win it every year. Here's a good question for everyone. What hurts more? Does it hurt more to make to the Stanley Cup Finals and lose, or make it to the Eastern Conference Finals Game 7 and lose? Or would you rather just get it over with now?
I'd rather go to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, though losing 1-0 to Boston in overtime. That sucked, but no, more hockey the better.
That's true, because there would have been so many good times at all the games and the watch parties and this shows. The thing that really sucks about this show is we used to back in the winning days, we used to do a toast after every Lightning series win, and we haven't been able to have that toast since the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago. So I'm hoping next year we make a toast, but I'm serious, man. I think this team, JBB, it's time to make some moves. I saw someone mention they were disappointed in Point. Listen, I don't think Point's off the block necessarily. I think Point's a guy that you can trade and get return for. So he could be a guy that gets traded in the offseason, and I'm dead set on they've got to get rid of one of these guys with a bigger contract.
They do.
Whether they're a great player, and I do think Point is a great player, and I think he's really going to get better. But he's also playing with Cooch too, right? Like how many goals does he get just from Cooch? Because they're most of his assists are to Braden Point.
The Draisaitl effect.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't too thrilled about the first round exit. I just didn't see this team. I didn't see a path for them to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, let alone win. Not with how they played all season. I got a little hope in March just because they went on the hot streak, but this team just didn't have it all season. You can't just all of a sudden turn things on and become a Stanley Cup caliber team.
Right.
So we've been on the outside looking in for a couple years now. All right. So no Thomas Scully. Let's go ahead and give away a Cigar City. Oh, I haven't checked. I have not checked Instagram at all, but we are on Instagram. Hello, people on Instagram. We don't see your comments in StreamYard. Sorry. Let me go ahead and share my screen. John, if there's any comments that you want to point out, go ahead and put a little star next to them because we're going to give out a couple things here. Let me share my screen. We'll do the first Cigar City jersey here. And yeah, we are going to get out of here. We got to go back to our normal lives of, well, I'll still watch the whole playoffs. I don't know about you. All right, let's do a drawing. Cigar City, High Lie. Leah, I'm not going to let you win again if you win. Derek Yates, he won. He didn't win the jersey, but he won the jersey this time. Yates, you won, man. And I know you're a big dude. But guess what? These jerseys are these are real hockey jerseys, so these jerseys are huge. So I got one for you. I got a large that I think is going to work for you, dude. We'll be in touch. If you can shoot me a DM on any of these platforms, that will help tremendously, and I'll get back to you. Not tonight. What else we got here? Let's see. I got some comments here, starred. I'm trying to go through. Derek Yates had a couple of them. Not gonna give it to you again. All right, Roscoe. You are our third star. Hashtag Sergey stopped the sweep. Hit me up. I got a Cigar City shirt coming your way. Yeah, I guess I'll ship it out to you. But you're gonna have to buy me a beer next time you come to Tampa. Shipping's not cheap these days. Let's go with Serena. Second star of the chat. Got to give it to you for your kind words about the captain, because that is what a captain does. Motivates, absolutely. And you know what? We're going number 1 star. He's got the sweetest butt in all of Tampa. And I ain't talking about his ass. I'm talking about his grilling. I got a couple comments. I got to see. Hold on, we'll go with this.
I'm glad you clarified.
No, he can cook. He's a grill master, and now he's gonna match Leah because he's getting the Cigar City jersey. The PP needs less foreplay. Just fucking do it. That's really what they needed this playoff series. So there you go, Jason. I'll track you down this off season. Sadly, we have no more games to tailgate at this season. John, any final words for Bolts Nation out there?
It's going to be a long off season. Let's just be prepared for some big changes. It's either going to be changes in what we already have or not what we expect from the Lightning during the season. It's depending on which road they want to go.
Yeah, it'll be another interesting off season. It's going to be another sad off season just because we knew this was coming. Every year we've lost one of these players that we really love, and we might lose the biggest one of all this season, or somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, they might trade Cooch while he's at an all-time high and get a whole slew of players back. That might be the best thing they can do because you're going to get a ton back for Cooch, but man, you better get a lot. You better get the serious
couple first round picks back. A couple,
I don't like picks. Yeah. I don't like picks, man, because you don't know what those picks are going to be. Although we seem to do pretty good with picks. I want some players that can jump right in on defense.
We got a lot of shut your mouths.
Yeah, we don't. Nobody likes the idea of trading Cooch. Yeah, that'd be a tough pill to swallow. But guess what? Wayne Gretzky got traded, folks. So
he did.
Don't think Cooch can't get traded for the right price. And to be honest, if you think about it, that might be what the team needs to get back into, not first round exit mode. We've got to stack up and we've got to get some depth. And right now we can't do it with the current roster.
No.
All right. Cool. Not the season, or not the ending of the season we all wanted, but we did have some awesome moments this season. What would you say is your best moment of the season? Final comment here.
For me?
Yeah.
I would say the March run, just the whole run where we won all those games and just the guys gelled. We played some really good hockey. Everything seemed to come together. I think we all got excited.
Yeah, true. Because in February we were so worried, like we didn't know if we were going to make the playoffs, and then March happened, and it was just like, oh, we're in, right? Yeah, that's a good one. I gotta get. I mean, to me, this will always be the season of Cooch. We might be looking back in 20 years, looking at that 144 points, whatever it was,
144,
and wondering still if anyone's going to reach that. So to see him have this season that he had was unreal. I mean, the guy was scoring multiple points every single night.
He factored into 52% of the Lightning's goals. The last person to do that was Mario Lemieux in 96 or 97.
Yeah, when you're getting paired with Lemieux and Gretzky with these numbers, I mean, it will be a travesty if he doesn't win the Hart. Like I will be very upset because when you talk about most valuable player to their team, this was Nikita Kucherov's team. Without Nikita Kucherov, we're not making the playoffs.
If you take his point total and cut it in half, we don't make the playoffs. Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Season of Cooch. It's over. Dang. Over. All right. Well, hey, congratulations to the Florida Panthers again. You got us. You finally got us. You finally got one up on us, but we're still your daddy. We're still your daddy, Florida. So don't forget that. I'll be on later this week with Thomas Schooley so you can hear from them. Until then, this has been We the Thunder. Don't forget to be the Thunder.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, you interrupted my that's it.
Shit. That's it?
That's it.